Okay, now that you've finished step 1 of making your own brayer, now you're going to draw out your column drawing. So I want you to pick an order that is not Doric, and I want you to use the last 4, some Roman examples. This is a Roman example. Column. Don't make it too simple. Try to challenge yourself. That's what I'm going to encourage you to do, is try to challenge yourself. So what you want to do now is, once you have your drawing done, if you have the ability to make a copy, I would encourage you to make a copy of your original drawing, because you're going to need this as a reference and you might not want to draw on it. So I will show you some examples of how I did this. I started with a pencil line drawing and then went over it with a Sharpie marker. Then I took it to my copy. Oh, and for this exercise, you're going to need some drawing paper, a pencil, a Sharpie, and pick a pencil that's a little bit dark. You can draw with a lighter pencil, but for this part to transfer, I would suggest something a little darker, like a 2B or something like that. I have a B right here. I just had it available. Then I'm going to go off of my copy here, so I'm not going to draw on my original drawing. What we're going to do is we're going to take this image and we're going to apply it to our linoleum. And to do this, there's a couple different methods. There's a method with transfer paper, which you guys might not have transfer paper available. So what I'd like you to do is try a different method. What you're going to do is you're going to take your drawing and you're going to take your pencil and you're going to go and mark all your lines on your drawing. Okay, so I'm going to speed through this real quickly. And you don't have to fill in all the black areas, but you might want to. I mean, that's up to you, how much detail you put in. Every line you're going to mark heavily too. Press a little harder, make sure that a good amount of graphite is getting onto your drawing. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've drawn in all my lines. And you can tell also, if you stop and have to take a break or whatever, or you lose track, you can easily just pick it up and you can see the shiny parts where the graphite is. This is the bonus of using a copy also. Like right here, it's pretty dull, but you can see the outside where I drew, okay? So the next thing you're gonna do, you need some tape. You can use regular, clear tape. You can use this. I'm using masking tape. And what you're going to do is you're going to tape it onto your linoleum. Now I'm going to tape it around my picture here. There we go. And you just want to paint one side so that you can bring it up. Oh, I'm sorry. Whoop. You want to tape your drawing face down. And you should be able to see the drawing imprinted through the paper on this side. So let's try this again. Put some tape on here. A little bit on the other side. And what happens is like if you need to step away or something like that, or you just, you can do it by just placing your hand down firmly on one end of the paper. And what you're going to do is you're just going to take your finger and you're just going to, like your fingernail, and you're just going to rub the drawing onto the linoleum. You want to keep it as secure down as you can as you go. And just start in a little section and move your way over. The reason why I like the tape is because if you do let go, it's not a big deal, and you can start seeing that the image is starting to transfer, and that's what we're looking for. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to rub, keep rubbing. If some areas are not transferring as easily as others, you might either need to put some more graphite on there or just rub over it a few more times. This is a bonus of using a darker leaded pencil too. The darker the lead, the darker your image is going to be. Now, I did not do a lot of detail down here because the next step is you're going to take a Sharpie marker and you're going to redraw everything with the Sharpie marker right back on to your drawing. See, like right here, it's a little thin, so I'm going to come here and reapply a little pressure. And maybe I just didn't get that side with my pencil. Who knows? If you just miss a few lines, you can always draw it back in there. So then once you have your drawing, I'm going to leave it right here next to me so I can see what areas I might need to work on. So I'm going to sit here for just a minute here, and I'm going to start with my light areas. It's better to start left to right, but if you rub on this too much, you're going to rub that graphite right back off. So I'm going to come here and just kind of, with the Sharpie, redraw my drawing on here. And I'll be right back with this done. All right, so I have this column all done, except I did not do the black here. I'm just going to come in here and just kind of color it in, and you can draw it as you go. You can make changes if you decide this is not what you want to do. Just know that a few things. This is a reverse copy of this, so it's flipped. So if you want to do an image and you want it to look exactly like how it is, you're going to have to do it. You're going to have to draw it and do it in reverse. So like if you want to do lettering or words or anything like that, you have to do it backwards. You have to draw it backwards so that when you flip it, and on here, it will be backwards on here. So then when you print it and you take it off, it will be right side. So now I have this done. So now I can start cutting. So now that I have this like this, what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to start cutting. Now these are not blocks. Blocks are easier to handle, and I will admit, but they are a lot more expensive. So I went with just the linoleum. Okay, so you should have a little red cutter that I recommended for you to get that has multiple blades on it. This is mine. It comes in with a little kit from Speedball. You get ink, you get little rubber things. Okay. So mine are, here are all my little blades. You should have at least 5 little blades. You should have a thin one, a thick one. So I'm going to go with this larger one for, let's see, I'm going to go with this one. It's larger. Here's my thinnest one. So I have a really tiny one, and this is a larger one. This one's a larger one. And just keep in mind of which side, the side that has a shiny little bit here. See the shiny little bit? Sorry. This shiny little bit, this side does not have shiny. So this side is the side you put into your cutter. Okay. So I'm going to use this one actually. Yeah. And some of them are curved more than others. So I'm going to put this in here. Okay. Now, number 1 rule, when you're cutting, you don't want your hand where your tool is going, so you go into your hand and you just do little bits at a time. So you just hold it steady and you just start moving, and you can wiggle it, and you just do small little indents. And what I like to do is I like to go one way, then I'll turn my piece, and again I'm keeping my hands somewhat away from my blade here, and I meet it in the middle. Okay, so whatever you cut out is going to leave a white imprint. The deeper you cut it, the more possibility of that being white. The less you cut, if it's just a very small cut on top, then then it will leave some ink behind, possibly. This is when, you know, having that brayer is going to help. So you're going to carve out your whole block very slowly. And if you want bigger passes, you know, if you want to use something bigger, bigger areas, you can use bigger blades. I have a blade that's really big here that could probably take up some stuff. This is pretty good size. Right now I'm just sticking with what I have. And again, I'm not asking you to do something as intricate as this, but I am asking you to challenge yourself. I don't want something really simple. I want to see some detail. Also, just keep in mind that, you know, whatever's black, that's going to transfer. So if you don't want to cut out so much, then you're going to have a lot more black in your drawing. So if you want a lot more, what is that, negative space, then you're going to cut it out. So I'm just doing these real quick. And sometimes, you know, you don't make it exactly into your design, and that's okay. You can improvise. Just go slow and steady. And you're going to do this all week long for the next 2 weeks. You're going to carve this out, and then the following 2 weeks, we will actually be printing these out. So, and you'll be working on a design yourself. So you can carve out a design on this side, and then you can carve out a design on this side. This was where a transfer didn't really work out. Hope this helps you. Stay safe. Again, keep the cuts away from your other hand. You know, you can keep maneuvering this in ways that will keep you somewhat safe, and just make sure you're really being, you know, you're securing it down really well with the other hand out of the way, of course. And like I said, what I'm doing is I just kind of carve into an area, and then I just come in here and just kind of swoop it out, swoop it all out, and go back the other way. Again, nice and slow, and avoiding your fingers. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've cut out everything with that size blade that I showed you. And again, I took extra care making sure that I was not cutting and constantly going back and forth, weaving back and forth. Now I'm going to shrink down to a smaller blade to get into the smaller areas. And I also want to make a point that I want the background designed in some way or also. I don't want this all black. I want to see some designs, or do what you'd like to do in the background, but I'd like to see some white relief cuts in here also. Remember, whatever gets cut out will be white. Whatever gets left behind will be black. I'm just going to do some little work to show you. So like these leaves, I'm holding this away from me. Just a little bit of pressure does what you need. Just a little bit of pressure. It's hard to see, but you'll know because it turns this white or light gray color. So you know that it's making a difference by just seeing that little bit of color. And you can't, once you cut something out, you can't get it back, right? So you want to go very slowly. And as you go along, you might feel like, oh, you know what, I don't need this many little details on the leaf, or I might not need so many little cutouts. It's good to also try to get rid of any rubber bits out of here. You can use like a toothbrush, an old toothbrush, and just kind of brush it off. You just want to make sure that all your little bits are all any extra rubber bits are removed. So I'm just coming in and hitting these smaller areas that I could not hit really well with my bigger blade. So experiment with your blades. If you want to find out like what the blades do, I mean, I guess you could just kind of experiment on the background a little bit. You know, this just does simple little lines. And mine, just like yours, you can switch out blades. And maybe like this wider one. I haven't tried this one before, so I'm going to try this guy here. And let's try it over here. let's see. And it removes quite a bit of work, of stuff here. Let's see. Gotta try to make sure you're cutting away from yourself. So, you know, it's good to try out new things. Okay. I'm going to go back to my tiny blade, and I'm going to finish hitting these little details, and I'm going to finish getting rid of my background too. I'm just going to let it be white. I might let there be some designs back there, but maybe not. That's up to you what you do on the background. But like I said, I don't want this all black. I want more white than black on the background. So here is my, okay. So just continue to carve that out. You're going to show me in 2 weeks a carved out piece and your handmade brayer, and I will have some sketch assignments and things like that as well. So thank you so much. Hope you guys are doing well, and I look forward to seeing your final designs.